What's going on, guys? This is Brooks from HMO, and I have three very special, talented guests here. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves for me right quick?
I'll go first. I'm Tykera Carter. I host Life After with Tykera Carter podcast and a freelance sports journalist in DMV.
I'm Mike Curry, host of Curry in the Pot Sports Podcast. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I just love to talk about sports.
I'm Anthony Haynie. I work with Capital Hoops, Denby Sports One a little bit, Team 980, and I love all sports, to be honest. Like, I love sports.
All right, love to hear it, guys. So, as the sports world knows, just a couple of days ago, Jalen Green and now Isaiah Todd announced that they were going to join the NBA G League and skip college. First and foremost, what were your immediate reactions when you heard this?
I thought it was a good thing. And personally, I think that because it's a change of pace. Why are you striking kids and making them go to college for a year when you know that a lot of their main goals is to leave and go one and done? I believe that those scholarship spots that these great talents take up for a year could go to a person who might go to a program such as a Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, or whatever, and actually stay in these programs and see what could be done. We talk about like the trios, like Cam Reddish last year, Zion Williamson, and RJ Barrett. Would it have been great if they went to Duke for that 1 year and won a championship? Absolutely. But then you go and you lose, and it's kind of like, okay, well, that's the last that we're going to see of them. Maybe you'll see more kids go to college and stick it out a little bit more. And I think college is a great place for some people, but I also feel if you have the talent to go above and beyond and play in a place like the G League and get paid for it, and now you're getting paid for your likeness, then you should be able to do so. I also agree with the fact that Adam Silver was pretty much like, we're tired of sending NBA scouts overseas to watch players who are going to be in the NBA draft or NBA talent coming up, and we should keep our players home. So I thought that was like a smart move by him, and then it might actually make the NCAA react and allow players to get paid for their likeness, because they don't want to lose out on these talents either, because then that results in the NCAA losing on money too, and we know that's something that they don't really like.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what you
I
thought?
feel like,
Oh, my fault.
well, Mike,
I thought it was interesting, man. Like, I just thought I wasn't shocked, but I was just like, oh wow, like it's good to see these top level players like trying to make likeness off their name. Like, obviously the NCAA said it's going to happen, but what happened when? I mean, just like think of how much money Zion could have made off of the name, off of his name. Like, just imagine that, players like that, because I mean Zion was the most polarizing player last year and one of the most polarizing players ever, like as far as popularity. So I thought it was interesting that Jalen Green, Isaiah Todd did it, and they were top players. But I mean, we seen like not necessarily take the G League route, but we seen it like LaMelo. He went overseas. R.J. Hampton, he did it a while back. Brandon Jennings, he went overseas. But I think it's cool that, I mean, he's good enough. So I mean, why not go to the G League? I mean, like Ty said, some players are going to need, the college game. You look at players like Kyle Kuzma. He had to stay in college a couple of years. Like, there's going to be some players that need to do that, but for the players that's ready to go, I mean, why not go? So that's my thoughts.
I pretty much agree with what Mike and Ty had to say. I definitely think the NBA giving, top players another alternative just to, achieve their goals of making an NBA team is definitely good. And they don't have to ship them off to Australia and New Zealand and stuff like that anymore. Like, you can keep them here. And, us fans, like, we can still watch them and see what we would have missed out had they gone to college. And as Ty said, about the likeness thing, I feel like Jalen Green, like, without a doubt, like, his next year, like, when he's in the G League and stuff like that, he'll definitely be able to profit because of, all the, what is the word I'm looking for? All of the exposure and, just things he's done for the game of high school basketball in general. I do, however, have my concerns with Isaiah Todd. Just seeing like him at in DC at the Mather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like too, high off of him, but the fact that, scouts are in his ear telling him that you have the upside, just spend 1 year in the G League, training, and that's what this G League is. It's not necessarily they're going to be playing against G League talent, but they're also going to be on one team, getting some life skills and, just ultimately training and prepping for the NBA as opposed to, just sticking to a G League calendar year. So I think that's another a positive from this G League stint. So it's definitely interesting.
As Ann alluded to, these G League or Jalen Green, Isaiah Todd, they're gonna have a team in South California. They're gonna get to play with vets along with young players. Who are some of these guys that you see signing up and being able to pay the game forward and really mentor these young guys into the next step of the NBA?
Do you mean NBA players who are kind of already there? Or are you talking about
NBA players on the fringe, like they're trying to get back into the league, they're trying to get some more opportunities, things like that?
I think that's a tough question to answer, and I would say more so because the high school talent are already celebrities in their own rights. You know what I mean? Like the social media followings that they have is crazy. Had there been no social media, I don't even think this would be an option. But because we can go on their Instagram pages and watch these highlights, that's where most of us know these young kids from. So I think that anybody who can kind of get in their ear is going to, because of they're kind of their own celebrities in a way because of social media. I'm like, these kids have, they might have thousands of followers, almost like a milli, and it's just like it's off of like you put together like these dope, mixtapes and stuff like that, and you watch these kids on social media, and that's how you know of these household names like Jalen Green. He's not from our area, social media. So I think that a lot of different people are going to be in their ear in a sense. And then a lot of people in the G League are going to be in their ear because that's a marketing strategy for the G League. It's going to help them market their product better. So then more people will. I'm not going to say people don't want to play in the G League, but the G League is going to be cool, right? A lot of people look at the G League right now and it's like, it's a developmental league and some of these guys may or may not make it to the NBA. While on the flip side, you have these cool high schoolers with this big profile going into the G League. It's like, hey, I might want to catch a G League game. I might want to look into this a little bit more now because of the marketing aspect that's going to go into it by getting these top tier players. So that's why I think so many different people are, for say, going to be in their ear. And I couldn't just name one, you know what I mean? I think people are going to reach out to them just because of the name in itself of who Isaiah Todd and Jalen Green are.
Okay. Mike, you want to go next?
I mean, I don't really got too much to comment on it, but like pretty much to piggyback off of what Ty said, like these guys in a sense are gonna be pioneers. Like they're gonna be pioneering this whole G League thing. Like who knows like what type of light we're gonna be looking at the G League in a couple of years, like or even next year. Like I feel like this thing is so much bigger than just them choosing the G League. Like it's I feel like it's so much bigger than that because it could be a huge deal in the next couple of years. So that's all I really got to say about that.
And just to add, I don't really have too much to add, but it's something just to note. The G League that the NBA has put together for the high school players, it's not going to be like a huge influx of players. Like it's going to be 3 to 5 or somewhere like a low number of students like just coming out of high school as opposed to you having 20, 30 students all interested in trying to pursue going through the G League and then to the NBA. The fact that it's only a handful allows for, there just to be a couple of mentors. I'm not sure like who's going to step up and, be that mentor, but the fact that it's only 3, 4, 5 maybe is a good thing because now you have one mentor, you have one mentee, and you can establish some type of, relationship connection that will extend years and stuff.
So it sounds like you guys don't necessarily agree that the NCAA is in trouble in any sort of form with these guys, defecting and going to overseas or whatever it may be.
I mean, I think for every top player there's another one that's going to have to go to school. Like, period. Everybody is not going to opt out. There's different factors that go into choosing, am I going to go to NCAA route or am I going to college? College is an experience as well. Some people don't want to miss that experience of fans being on top of you, the rowdy gyms, a packed out game like UNC versus Duke, Ohio State versus Michigan State. Some kids are going to want that experience ultimately. So do I think it's going to hurt the NCAA on a sense of, are they going to have to make a change? Yes. But do I think that everybody is just going to say, no, I don't want to go to college? I don't believe so. I think there's still going to be top talents. And then I think the dynamic of men's college basketball, has been changing in the first place because we see these teams that are like in the A10 conference or in the CAA or stuff like that who are developing these kids who are staying for 3 to 4 years and household names. Like, I just think college basketball is changing all around where it's not just the blue bloods who are getting like immaculate talent, which is why I think NCAA is okay.
Yeah. I think NCAA, they're gonna be just fine. For people to saying they're in trouble, it's kind of nonsense. Like NCAA is always gonna be popular. Like if you tell me like if Coach K knocks on one of y'all doors, are you gonna tell him no? You're not gonna think about it, or Roy Williams knocking your door. Well, Ty might say no to Coach K, but like Duke, but she's not gonna say no to Roy Williams. So just think about it. And like all of these other coaches, like you're really gonna say no. But like Anthony said, like there's gonna be a couple that, will take the G League route, but the vast majority is still gonna go to college. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, pretty much like what they said. Like I don't think a lot of people want to miss out on that experience of just, being at a college, having bright lights on you and putting a school and an entire fan base on your back. Like people live for those moments and stuff like that. So everyone, is definitely going to weigh their options and stuff like that. And I think most people are going to decide to go to college, but there's going to be some outliers that want to opt to do something else, and you can't necessarily knock them for it. It's just, their situations you can't really speak for, and that's what they thought was best for their family.
Now, what do you say to these guys, like the old school thinkers, the people that are always going to complain about, oh, why do these players want to get paid? They're already getting, paid in scholarships and this, that, and the third. Why are they so worried about making money off their likeness? With the opportunity like this is so much bigger than just the getting paid. It's about the exposure and just so many different things going on with the NBA. What do you say to people that are just so against the one and done rule and so against just staying in college in general?
It's small-minded thinking. It's a new day and age. It's 2020. Like I said, social media, such a big marketing strategy on itself. It's like if one of the guys like Jalen Green or Isaiah Todd wanted to put their name on a hoodie and sell it, they can't do that with the NCAA because that's a violation. Like, why can't I make money off of a hoodie company or production, that I made at home? To me, that's petty, and everybody doesn't have it like that, and I think because of, once again, it goes back to a lot of student athletes, they have this celebrity status where if you're a celebrity in its own right, why can't I make money off of it? I think for people who are old school, they think, well, I survived and I didn't get paid and I still made it to the NBA. Well, that's great for you. It's a new day and age. And at the time, that was good enough for people back then, because in a sense, that's all that they did have. Like getting a scholarship was, the bread and butter, because they didn't have social media, because there wasn't television broadcasts the way that we have them now. Everything is so high tech. So I think as our forms of communications go, our viewing goes, something has to grow with it. Like, imagine hearing your name 1,000 times on television and your jersey being sold in the bookstore, and it's just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get any type of compensation from it. I think the biggest thing that the NCAA has to figure out is how do you compensate for it? And when I say how is the guy who goes to Kentucky whose jersey is selling a little bit more than the guy who goes to a school like I went to, Sacred Heart, do they get the same amount of money because their levels are different, so to speak, a mid-major and a high major? I think those are the biggest, things to figure out. How do you compensate the student athletes? But I don't think it's something that you totally rule out at this point. I think it's small-minded thinking, and it's not like the 1960s anymore. And stuff is more expensive, like everything is more expensive in our world today. You want the newest MacBook and all that other stuff. How are you gonna pay for it?
Big facts.
Yeah, money talks. Money's gonna always talk. So, like these players that gotta go one and done. Like, what about these kids that their families growing up in poverty-stricken areas? Like, you gotta go get that money. You gotta go take care of your mom or your siblings and stuff like that. So, yeah, for people that's saying that, I mean, like Ty said, it's a new age. It's 2020. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. So, like, money's gonna always talk. So I'll say that.
Back off of Mike, I definitely think, like, I know growing up from where I grew up and like how I grew up and things like that, like you got to be able to provide for your family. Like if you don't think you going to college is the best thing for your family, especially you know, you never know like what's going on at home and stuff like that, then you have to take the step that's going to benefit you and your family. Like, and I feel like that's what some of these players are doing, and you can't knock them for it. Like new day and age, like that's how it is. And you don't want people getting lawsuits by like taking money from people and then trying to like give it back, because guess what? It's gonna get tracked and then they don't get in trouble. And we've experienced that. A whole bunch of stuff happened with LeBron, and he sort of got in trouble for it, but that's what happens.
And then, then you get in trouble with the NCAA. You miss out on a player like watching, what's his name from Memphis? James Wiseman or whatever?
Oh, James Wiseman, exactly.
Yeah.
Great example.
We missed out on a great talent this year, although the tournament and stuff was cut short. Like the NCAA made him make a decision. Like, I'm not coming back to school over something, so petty that had to deal with AAU, a living situation, life. So I think they make it hard on student athletes. And then at times, I won't say all the time, but at times. And then I think, something that I experienced in college is cost of attendance. Why do some conferences get cost of attendance where you get like a monthly stipend and others don't? Why isn't it an NCAA wide thing where you just mandate it? So it's like, okay, well, at least everybody's getting something a month. I think the imbalances are what they have to figure out for the student athletes. And something that the G League has hit like the nail on the head is, it's not like they're telling these kids, okay, you come to the G League, it's basketball, basketball, basketball. They're also offering to pay for education if Isaiah Todd or Jalen Green wanted to get their degree in the midst of preparing for the next level. You mean to tell me that's, a top player in the country could potentially, and some will, but pass up on the fact that I get to go to a developmental league where I'm strictly focused on basketball. But if I want that education aspect, there's money set aside for me to do so as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a great part of this whole initiative that the G League does have, is that they're offering a scholarship for any college for those two to go to, because basketball has to stop at one point. And with that being said, do you think that this movement that could happen, I should say, will be as big as what happened with, Kobe and KG leaving early, getting the big dollars, becoming the icons that they became? Is this something that could potentially become like an equivalent of what those two did?
Can you Can you repeat the question? I was struggling to like hear you a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, I was saying that, Kobe and KG, they did something similar going from prep to pro, famously becoming, champions, becoming all-stars, MVPs, all of that. Do you see this path Jalen Green and Isaiah Todd are taking become similar, I guess?
It might. I don't think anybody's as good as, I mean, not yet. They're not as good as Kobe. I mean, I'm sorry. And it's not to say that Kobe didn't develop when he got into the league. You know what I mean? But I mean, when I see, I guess, on take a person that's going to, bloom like those individuals did, then perhaps. But that's really tough.
Yeah.
I feel like Jalen Green, him especially, like he's the prototypical, NBA athlete. Like he's lanky, he's 6'5", like he can do it all. He can get to the basket, he can shoot, can handle the rock. Like I feel like he fits today's NBA game, and I really, to be honest, I thought he was the best in his class. Like Cade Cunningham, yes, like he can do it all, but I feel like when you talking about, the leap from high school to college to the NBA, I think Jalen Green, he has the most upside. Like he's a freaking dog. Like he's great.
It's tough to say will they become, these Hall of Fame type players. But Jalen Green's definitely nice though. So I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I personally could have seen Isaiah Todd going to college, but and I've seen him play in person. That's just me, so to speak. But he's a confident guy. From when I interviewed him, one thing I remember him saying is like clear as day. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Michigan for this 1 year. Like flat out in an interview, I'm gonna go to Michigan for 1 year, get it done and basically leave. If your mindset is already, on to bigger and better things, that's why I'm not surprised that he made that move. So from a confidence standpoint, like sky's the limit for the dude. Maybe the developmental aspect is what he needs. But I also thought that Michigan would have been a good move for Isaiah Todd because Juwan Howard he was an NBA coach, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna, I believe, give those players what they need as far as development. Guy played at Michigan, he played in the NBA, and then you're an NBA, assistant coach. You have that brain. You are probably gonna warp and shape some of your players into that NBA mindset and a system. I thought that personally would have been good for him, but we'll see if the NBA G League route will still help in that aspect of him, picking up to speed because he definitely has the size and all that stuff that you need to play. That's not a problem. But as far as, continuing to develop at his size kind of doesn't matter. You got to have a jump shot these days, no matter, kind of how tall you are. Are you going to be able to extend your game? So I think, sky is the limit really for both of them. It's just about how well the developmental program for the NBA G League just works out.
I definitely agree with that. I like watching Isaiah Todd, I just saw him as, raw talent. Like he was still, trying to work on his jumper and perfect it. Still working on his handle, still working on getting to the basket. Like he has the build. He's shown glimpses of, being able to attack the rim, make the outside jumper. But when you get to the next level, you got to do it consistently. And I feel like Michigan, they really lost a good one in him,
and
but they still got to. Yeah, that too.
But yeah, and like as you guys said, the three of us, we got to watch Isaiah Todd in person, unlike with Jalen Green. And the one thing that I could take away from him was the fact that, like, first half he was terrible, like just booty. Second half he really picked it up, really became like the energy guy, led Word of God to who was it? They played against Bishop Walsh, right?
Yeah, and it's like, we can say he just might have had a rough tournament. I don't know. That was like the first time that I seen him play in person. And in high school, like you're always gonna, if you are the best player on your squad, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
so that's the player to watch going into the game. You're watching every single thing he does. So, I'm not knocking the talent from the games that I saw. I was like, kid is nice, definitely. He's got game. I will be excited to see how he develops, but I just kind of don't know.
All right. So I just want to get you guys' final thoughts on everything, and then we're gonna get going. But whoever wants to go first can go.
I'll go first. I want to add one thing. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on Friday, but the NCAA, they're waiving the SAT and ACT scores of incoming freshmen and stuff like that. And I really think that's going to change. That's going to change the landscape of the NCAA for next year anyway, because I feel like JUCO players, who it's a lot of D1 players in the JUCO system and stuff like that, but they don't necessarily have the grades to make a D1 team or D2 team. And I feel like them waiving the ACT and SAT grades and stuff like that is going to allow for some of those players to creep into some of those D1 lineups and stuff like that. So you got the 6th and 7th man who thought like, hey, next year is going to be my year, but now he has to compete against those JUCO players that are transferring in. So I really think, well, for one, JUCO basketball next year is probably not going to be as competitive as it usually is, but also on a D1 and D2 scale, there's going to be a lot of people in the transfer portal again, because guess what? They lost their spot to someone that probably didn't have the grades to, make the team initially, and now not on the team. So I definitely think that's something to point out and watch out for.
Mike?
Final thoughts. I mean, I think it's great for them. I mean, hopefully it pans out for them. But as far as the NCAA goes, they'll be fine. And we're just going to have to see. I mean, I think the NCAA does have to make a few, minor adjustments, a few minor tweaks. But, everything's going to be good. But we'll see about Isaiah Todd, and we'll see about Jalen Green.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time, definitely, to test the waters with two very talented players to see kind of how it pans out in the end. Like I said, I think it'll be, if it works out, marketing strategy for the G League. Maybe we'll be able to find some more of their games on TV, or people will be more inclined to want to go and watch these players, and that's going to help their ticket sales and stuff like that. And then as far as I like the fact that if it does work out for these kids, they still get to go to the draft. So it's not like, boom, you're straight to the NBA. Like, it's like a free ticket. Like, they go through the whole process. It's just skipping college. So I agree with the setup of it for the most part. I think that shall it work out, we'll see more top prospects kind of take that route. And then I think after the season is over for the G League, we'll actually kind of get a feel of what their salary really was after taxes and all that stuff. Because I don't remember off the top of my head how much they said that they would be making. Do any of you guys?
Like 500,000.
Yeah, $500,000.
Yeah, so like $500,000, but that's just like the base salary. That's bread for someone that's like 17 years old. Like,
and I think they're supposed to have like incentives in there too for like, I was listening to a podcast.
Played, travel, yeah.
Right.
It's a lot of incentives in there as well. So
right,
they're gonna be able to make more than $500,000, I think.
Yeah, so I think once we see like the numbers and stuff like that, these are two good players to really test the waters with it to see how it works out. I think that's kind of the moral of the story, and we'll get to see if more student athletes opt to go that route or not.
All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. This is Hear Me Out once again with Brooks and Ty and Mike. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this latest video. Hit on the notification bell for the latest on pop culture, progressive politics, and sports. See you later.